Did you go to uni?
Did I go to uni?
I don't know. I don't like to assume things.
I've got 2 fucking degrees.
All right, well, I have 1.
I've got a bachelor's and a bloody master's.
So hang on, you've got 2 degrees, and what are you doing with those degrees? This is what I always question, is like people who go to university, because I went to the University of Life, which basically is
Alan Partridge.
So that basically means if I see that...
It is Alan Partridge.
You did the voice. I was like...
If I see that on Facebook, I think you're a if you... Do you know what I mean? Like, tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Don't put this in, please. You just can't go in. Because this is cancel worthy. Oh, God.
Yeah, well, it is going in. But
no, we can't. I'm going to get cancelled.
You can't use the...
Yeah, you're not allowed. It's a politically incorrect word in this day.
I'll beep it out. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Both times. But yeah, I'm a massive fan of Alan Partridge. Just glad you picked that reference up. But yeah, I didn't go to university.
Nice.
I was just got cracking on the business side of things.
Too cool for school.
Well, no, actually, the main reason I didn't go to university was because at that particular time in life, I was in my band and I was playing gigs all the time. And if I went to university, I'd have to stop my music career as it was then. And yeah, I didn't want to stop my music career because it was all I lived for, basically.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think ultimately you have to pursue passions rather than...
Oh, absolutely. I don't regret it at all. It was like the best times of my life, quite easy.
I think the sad reality of university is I only really went to professionally procrastinate, so it made me feel like I was doing something in my life. But then arguably, because I've been to university, I can now claim certain things. Like when I talk about psychology in the YouTubes, I can be like, got a master's.
Got this bit of paper.
Then I can be like, well, TFNL turning into a business, got a degree in that as well.
You know what, though? I was listening to a podcast the other day and they said about... Some employers, they look for a university degree, not because of what you did, but because of what you would have had to have done to have achieved a degree. You would have had to have stuck at something for 3 years.
Yeah.
You would have had to have, committed to learning something new, so being teachable, working with others, showing up on time.
Yeah.
Because I know university students that, we don't always show up on time.
I was always late.
I don't think I even went to many lectures in my first year or my third year. Sorry, Mum, Dad.
For legal reasons, I cannot comment on this.
Good. Oh, by the way, I don't know if this is a good idea or not. I haven't sorted out the effective sound yet, but I was thinking sometimes in the podcast when we ramble a little bit, we need almost like a button to press that just throws a sound up to basically say, just stop talking and change the subject.
Okay. Have you got a noise ready to go?
No, I haven't. That's the thing. But do you think that's a good idea that we should?
It could be. Is it like when they do?
We need like a button in the middle of the table that you're allowed to press when, literally, he's talking way too much about something that's not interesting. Let's just change the subject.
Everything's interesting.
I love how you started off by saying when we ramble, and you're like when he rambles.
I'm going to call this ageist because I'm the youngest. It's a personal.
Well, anyway, just be wary of the fact that there might be a klaxon of sorts.
It's like Prime Minister's Question Time when it's like the light comes on. It's like you have 10 seconds.
Let me just go on YouTube now and get.
Do you know what that is? Prime Minister's
I do
Question
know.
Time.
It'll stress me out.
Not Prime Minister's Question Time. No, I'll take that back.
I know what you mean though.
It's when they do the elections.
I'm just going to get a klaxon sound effect from the YouTube.
The YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going back to university quickly. I actually did a degree in health and fitness management, and surprise, surprise,
he's using it.
I now manage
health and fitness.
Well, that's kind of good in a way. That worked. That worked out well.
But I started that degree not knowing that's what I wanted to do, but I got told you need to go to university and do something.
I think my friend works in recruitment. They basically said for most degrees, unless it's a specialised subject like law, medicine, something like that, they don't care. I know so many people who have history degrees that work in an irrelevant field because it doesn't matter what the degree is in, it's the fact that you got a degree and you have the competence.
I can tell you now that I know so many people who got into fitness and personal training, and after maybe a year, maybe 2, maybe less, they got into recruitment. What the fuck is that?
I know a lot of people too.
Because
what is the deal with recruitment, man? I mean, there needs to be a company. There must be a company that recruits recruitment people because
yes, loads. Do you know what it is? It's because people get into the fitness industry with no business in being a coach. Yeah. Unpopular opinion, but some people have no business being a coach.
They think it'll be easy.
They think it's treated like a summer job. Like, they mistake passion for like authority and competency. It's like, I like training, therefore I'll be a good coach. It's like, no, you have to have a certain skill set to be a good coach. You have to be very patient with people to start off with, and you have to be very teachable yourself, and not be like, I've got my level 3 now, I must know everything. It's like, no, you've got a bit of paper that means people can't really sue you. They will try still if you do something wrong.
They will.
And it's like, not everyone should be a coach. So it's like they go into coaching because they like fitness. They get told all the money they're going to earn. They don't earn enough money because they're not a good coach.
It's the crap.
And then they go to the next job, which promises them lots of money up front. Recruitment.
Yeah, but then they realise recruitment is quite cutthroat.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as people think. From what I've heard, my friend was a hairdresser and he went into recruitment. And within like 3 months, he realised he hated life and went back to hairdressing. Couldn't hack it.
They're usually quite cool and incentivised. They're like, yeah, let's all go on holiday to Ibiza together. Yeah, if you work until 11 o'clock at night all week, every day, for the rest of your life, we'll all just go to Vegas and do loads of cocaine and stuff.
All the drugs.
I did recruitment for a few months in London.
Did you go to Vegas and do drugs?
I did not do that. I worked I worked in London for a few months, and the company was nice, but I was sold the dream too. And it was just one of those things. It was like every Thursday we go and get drunk, and then everyone spends Friday with a hangover because it's London. And it's like, if you don't make any money after the first couple of months, everyone's like, what are you up to?
Yeah, if you want to get over to the kitchen, just get on one of the little micro scooters just by your desk there and just scoot on over to the kitchen. And if you need to get to the ground floor, there's a slide that just slides down. Yeah, you're good to go.
The thing
it's
is,
like Google.
I was literally thinking Google. The thing is, getting into recruitment, obviously being sold a dream, it's like recruiters are really good at recruiting. They recruited you well to sell you a dream.
They are.
It's such a shame.
It's almost like
that's the wrong thing. That's not right. That's for later.
Oh.
That's for later. That's for later. You're gonna get that later.
Can we fire our sound technician because that was
sound
weak.
technician needed? That's the move on sound, right?
That's giving me anxiety.
I like that.
Is that too much, or should it be more of a sound effect?
Also, we can't fire him because it'd just be you and me talking to each other in a room.
No, I'm cutting that last bit out anyway, so it's fine.
Thanks, Mum.
But yes, right.
Got you to a front double bicep here.
Christmas. How was everyone's Christmas? We all survived it.
Painfully underwhelming.
I didn't do anything. My family, a lot of my family don't even live in this country, so I spent it on pretty much.
Why did they all just move away from you? That's the question.
Did you spend it on your own?
No, I didn't spend it on mine.
I was going to say, we're not doing that. I'm not allowing that to happen.
No.
You'd have been invited over to Harold's Country Manor, where you could have all sat round an open fire and played charades and other things that posh people do.
Am I posh?
Does he sound posh?
What's that move on button?
yeah. There you go.
I feel attacked. I don't know about this.
You are pretty posh, You're
just well spoken.
Is this bullying?
I stand up a little.
No, it's not bullying at all. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just we're probably just jealous because
I sit up a little straighter when I'm around you, just a little bit, just because I'm like, oh, he's here. Okay.
I'm not going to say anything anymore. I don't play.
That is such a lie. You already started 2022 with a massive bullshit.
Forget this. Let's just do the intro.
I'm trying not to talk as much because Mike told Anna that I'd talk too much, and I'm never forgetting that.
Let's just do the intro and then we can get past this on the other side of it, shall we? So I was thinking, it's New Year.
That caught me off guard, I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, you said that on the last one when I played Home Alone.
Yeah, you keep catching me off guard. You're on top of this. I like it.
Well, my thought was New Year, New Me vibes. Why not come in like a wrecking ball?
I agree.
Yeah.
The original by Miley Cyrus is bloody splendid too. How do you
come into a new year? You come in like a wrecking ball.
Definitely.
Yes, that's what we do.
And what better way to symbolise that than a country and western version of that song?
We should recreate. You've seen the music video where she's like in
one of the most famous music videos in the world. I think I've seen that.
Not a lot of clothing. We should recreate that.
Have you got a wrecking ball to hand or something similar?
I'm guaranteed we could find something.
Okay, fine.
I've got 5 meters of ceiling height in a gym.
Oh,
and
there we
steel
go.
girders.
And
find
the
flexing on his girders on us.
The exercise balls.
We just roll you in on an exercise ball.
There you go.
Good.
In one of your special leggings.
Yeah. Well, I thought I'd bring a little bit of vibrance to the opener there. I thought you'd like that.
I did actually enjoy that, and I don't really like country music.
Well, yeah, I'm not a big fan of country music either, but it just another YouTube violation I could do without. So I went for a cover song.
Nice.
But yeah, so welcome back, everyone. It is 2022. This is the third episode of Pump Fiction. I am Chris D. Fellows. He is Harry Moore.
Yes.
And to my right is the beautiful Mike Carter over there. Very beautiful. Find us on social media if you want to know what we look like and stalk us and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, hello guys, how are we doing?
Apparently we're well. Are we well? I'm well. Are you well?
I'm not, no.
Oh, well, you're not. You're a bit troubled.
Well, that's not the word I would use. I'd say bunged up, but okay, we'll go with troubled.
We were supposed to record this 2 days ago, but you phoned in sick.
I did,
exposed. Yeah. Mike exposed.
Yeah. No, I caught some kind of little flu, so my face is melting.
Just to ratify that it wasn't the big C.
It was not the big C. I did the big PCRs, and we're all good.
Good.
We are health and fitness coming at you.
Yes, so you had good Christmases. You all did the usual stuff. We can get past Christmas and move into New Year, new you vibes.
I think so. I think that Christmas period is just everyone's just a write-off, isn't it? So let's just move on to the juicy stuff.
I don't want to forget about it because all I did was eat so much I only threw up, but that's pretty much every day.
I thought you said that was what I was going to do.
Yeah, but you can eat a lot more than I can. My appetite is quite underwhelming. That's why I never want to have an eating contest with you because I'll get put to shame.
That is some content on there. Eating contest.
No, I get flavour fatigue. That's what I get. No, I get really bored of eating the same thing.
Wasn't that your rap name, Flavour Fatigue?
Well, I don't know, it is now.
Flavour fatigue. I've not heard that. I've heard of palate fatigue.
Well, I make it up as we go along. If I eat too much of the same thing, I'm like, I'm bored.
But that's why you've got to, slide in some alternative flavours. If you've had too much sweet stuff, you move on to savoury vibe and then flip flop.
The issue is unfortunately I am a man of no flavour, so. No, I get bored of
as vanilla as they come.
Literally, when it comes to food, I'm
probably going to take that as a quote. I'm a man of no flavour.
You've not seen me in the gym where all I wear is black and the occasional Hello Kitty top?
Yeah, people have seen that.
Fashion.
But yeah, so today's show, we were going to look at, we did put at the end of the last show, because believe it or not, guys, I thought the professional thing to do would be to re-listen to the last episode as a little refresher.
That's a bad idea.
Well, I don't mind. I used to hate the sound of my own voice, but I've done so much of this now that I'm totally used to it, which is quite useful. So I thought I'd listen to it back just to confirm if we promised anything on the last show. And lo and behold, we said we would ask people for their New Year's resolutions, which you did. And you have results for me, which is good. I did suggest maybe letting them know that you were going to potentially read them out, just for, No, just thought you'd publicise people's personal thoughts that they shared with you, which is fine.
Welcome to the internet.
We're not going to disclose names, though.
No, we're not going to disclose names.
And I also want to clarify, if you are listening to this, which is probably, well, you're probably not, if we ever ask something on the story, assume it may go in a podcast.
Well, my thought was if you told people it may go in the podcast, then they might go, they might read me out. I'll tune in, and therefore we'll get more listeners. But no.
We'll try that on the Q&A for the next one.
That's a good idea.
A bit of A/B testing.
As long as you just remind me, because I will forget.
Well, I'm like the parent here that has to pester you two. Seemingly, I'm waiting for you to get fed up with me. But what can you do?
Too late for that.
Too late for that. Anyway, yes. So where do we want to get started? Should we do some of these New Year's resolutions then? Should we kick off with those, or do you want to set your own New Year's resolutions? Do you have any?
I was going to say, have you even set any? I've already failed 2 of mine.
Really? It's very soon. It's only the 5th of January.
What were the 2 you failed?
No caffeine for January. I'm currently sat here with an Abe Monster energy drink.
All black everything that stands for, right?
Sure. And also I had 2 coffees today, but I'm going to say that's because I'm ill and I just need the pick-me-up.
God, you're such a sickly child, aren't you?
Yeah, pastely.
Yeah, he's definitely got the mummy's boy vibe about him. No? Yeah, there we go.
That's why I call him Mummy.
Well, there you go.
How does that even... Okay, moving on. What have you set yourself one, Harold?
No, I haven't set a New Year's resolution since I was born. Because ultimately I just want to do better every year, but that shouldn't be determined by whether it's a new year or not.
Here we go.
To be fair, I'm probably with Harold on this one in the sense that I don't set New Year's resolutions. I just set... I just have plans, I suppose.
I've got nothing against them.
They're targets. They're not resolutions.
Yeah.
I ultimately need to undo the food I took in in the latter stage of last year, and that's pretty much the first thing I set out to do this year, and that won't take me very long, and then we'll go from there.
I think, like, to clarify, I have no issue with New Year's resolutions. I think it's a really good means of, like, setting yourself a goal and kind of giving you that kind of emotional and mental trigger of let's start something now. But just for myself personally, I never really got along with them, and I felt like I didn't. If I want to achieve something, I will just say this is something I'm going to work towards. It doesn't really matter when or where, sort of thing.
Well, we're in that point of the year already where gyms are filling up with the noobs and the New Year's resolutioners.
Yes.
But interestingly, as we all know, most by March or February even, or even a couple of weeks,
it's like 12 days sometimes.
A lot of that has
research.
waned. And it might be pertinent to discuss what people are doing wrong with that.
Well, I think one thing definitely is what actually you both just touched on, which is treating January like it's some magical, mythical month which is going to kickstart something. I think it says more about the mentality around goal setting than anything.
Yeah.
It's actually it's that whole I'll wait till Monday. It's like, well, why don't you make a start on something now? Why wait until a day where it's going to be further in the future, where you're probably going to find more excuses not to do it? Why don't you just start with something now and just get the ball rolling?
Well, here's an interesting poll that I've just pulled up from The Independent.
This guy?
There you go.
I'm so glad you're here, because Mike and I would be lost without you.
It basically is an article about how UK adults struggle to follow diet and fitness plans in New Year, New Me vibes. And it says a poll of 2,000 adults found that 32% feel they would never be successful when it comes to trying to stick to an exercise plan, and 28% feel the same about eating healthily. So essentially people fully expect to fail when they start these plans, which just seems absurd to me.
First red flag.
Well, massive, pretty huge flag vibe there. What it usually comes down to is the fact that people just think the only way I'm going to get where I need to be in like the space of 1 month is to go cold turkey and do extreme things. They've got no patience, so therefore they think I've got to do it all. I've got to do it all now, and so therefore, instead of just making slight changes to their usual habits, they completely change how they eat and their daily regime and their gym activities. They just do it all at once. So it's like literally, like when you're trying to fix a problem, you don't change everything at the same time because you'll never isolate where the problem is. So if you're treating your New Year, New Me vibe as a problem, which in some ways it is, then surely the best thing to do is to just change one thing at a time until you get the result that you're looking for.
It's like, I think I heard it years ago as like an analogy of like a house, and you got all the electrics in the house. It's like something blows the fuse. So you're going to go round room by room and like figure out what you need to do to fix it. You wouldn't knock the whole house down and build a new house just because something tripped it. And I think that's exactly what you were touching on there about, it's instead of it being a dial, which it should be, like slowly turn the dial, it's a flick of a switch. It's all or nothing. And the trouble with being a switch, all or nothing, is as soon as you deviate from your plan, it's that whole fuck it mentality. I fucked it now.
Apparently, nearly 1 in 10 quit within the first 48 hours of like going cold turkey, essentially.
Yeah, no, that doesn't surprise me. Because I know it's obviously not necessarily relevant to fitness, but when I see people go like, I'm going to quit drinking for January, I see so many people post on like Reddit like, yeah, I was going to give up drinking for January. It's January 2nd. I'm absolutely hammered. I'm like, good start.
21% admit that they often set themselves unrealistic goals or timeframes.
I think that's probably one of the biggest issues when it comes to goal setting is people just set themselves up to fail. Ultimately, that's why I was always a big believer in like, set yourself a small but really realistic goal, because when you achieve it, you feel bloody fantastic. I smashed it. I'm ready to go again. If you set something that's just so far beyond comprehension and you can't immediately see the finish line, you're just going to flop.
That happens even now when I'm enrolling clients onto any of my programs. It's like, right, how many days a week do you think you commit to the gym? It's like, I'm going to do 5. I'm like, cool, let's start with 1. But I can do 5. Yeah, but let's just start with 1. And then it's like, okay, well, I'll do 5. And then it's like, how many times did you go to the gym last week? Once. I'm like, yeah, cool. It's because you set yourself far too much of a unrealistic expectation to the gym.
Well,
you don't go to the gym.
It's also the client that comes and says, I've got a holiday in 2 months, I need to lose 10 kilos. 10 kilos in 2 months? Yeah, maybe you're being a little bit unrealistic there.
It's one of the things that like ultimately it's better to add than to take away, and say, if you're like, okay, I can train 5 days a week, you're like, let's just do 1, because then we can go to 2, then we can go to 3. If you go straight to 5, and they're like, I can't hack it, you go down to 4, then you go down to 3, you feel worse about yourself for having to take away. Whereas if you add to it, you feel great, saying, you know what, I'm smashing 2 days a week, I'm feeling really good, I can now progressively overload and now go 3 days a week. God, I'm really doing good things here, I'm in a great mindset about it, we're all good. You're more likely to remain consistent with it, where if you take away, you're like, you know what, I'm failing. Whereas if you do well, you're succeeding.
Yeah, it's like framing, isn't it? Contextualizing the habits.
Absolutely.
Completely, yeah.
I think for me, for anyone looking to achieve something that they're setting out to do with fitness, then there's two things for me that are the most important for anyone who wants to get results, whether it's gaining muscle, getting lean, getting fitter, any of those things. Firstly, consistency. If you're not willing to be consistent, then you can't expect a result, because ultimately if it's a bit here and a bit there, and okay, yes, we are saying that you should ease yourself in gradually, but you're working towards a level of consistency, which I think is not unreasonable. And then the second thing, which probably is most applied, is applied to the diet side of things, and again, whether you're trying to build muscle, lose fat, it is, if you're not willing to be accountable with your diet, and by that I mean track your foods. It doesn't have to be exact, it just has to be there or thereabouts. If you don't track what you eat, you can't expect to get the result you're looking for, as far as I'm concerned. That's a big thing for me.
I think it's one of the things of, you almost go in slightly blind. At the end of the day, you've got to do whatever's best for you, whatever you can remain most consistent with, which again depends on the person, but similar to yourself, I'm quite meticulous with how I do things. I don't know if something's wrong if I'm not tracking it. Whereas if I'm doing something and something's not working, it's like, well, I can look at all the variables I'm considering, what needs to change. Whereas if I'm not considering any variables and just going in blind, it's like, well, I don't know where to begin.
I agree.
I think for a lot of people, I can't remember what I was going to say now. I think for a lot of people, they basically they find that the thought of tracking food is just like too much for them, and yet they're willing to commit hours to their training every week. So they're going to put in all the effort on the training, but they're not going to put any effort into probably the most important side of it, which is what they do outside of the gym and put, when they're eating and everything. And it just boggles my mind that they're not willing to do that.
Do you think that's kind of like an educational piece, because they don't know what they're doing? They have no context around how easy it actually could be if they just had the right systems in place. So it's like anything you don't really understand, it seems really difficult. It's the same way when people watch people lift in the gym, they're like, that looks so difficult. It's like, yeah, but if you spent time understanding how to do it and practicing it, it would actually be very easy for you to do that too.
There is a certain element of, yes, it would be useful to understand the concept of proteins, carbs and fats, but from a standard person who's probably looking to lose a bit of body fat, then really you just need to understand the calories as a priority. If anything, the two most important things would be calories and protein.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Everything else can be a variable. But if you're not willing to track your calories, then you're not gonna see the weight come off. You might be able to lose a lot of weight just by really reducing more than you should, but then it will reach a point where it's unsustainable and it just won't work. Whereas if you just take a little bit of time just to be a little bit more accountable, maybe use something like MyFitnessPal or however you want, just to understand, just to get a total calorie and ideally a bit of protein info, then the minute you gain control of what you're doing with your food, then everything else just falls into place beautifully.
Definitely.
And that's what I've found. That's what so many clients have found over the years, that it was they were going to personal trainers for years and they're doing all right, but they weren't really getting where they wanted. The minute they were persuaded to finally start tracking, they first of all realized, oh my God, I didn't realize how much fat was in an avocado. They didn't realize how much, how many calories were in the sugar they were putting in their coffee, or the milk they were putting in their coffee, and all these things that just add up and they don't realize. So it's all that stuff. And that, for me, that's the only way. Consistency and tracking is absolutely vital for getting where you want to be.
I think you need to bring awareness to the situation. So I always think tracking, even if it's just for a week, and if you're someone that doesn't like to track very often, just coming back to tracking every now and again just to check that you're on course, because I think you'll be surprised how quickly you'll move away. And I think beginners should definitely track in some way, because I think
Yeah.
you need to have that awareness, because your food knowledge, understanding what goes into food is so low. But I think as you become a bit more of a nutrition ninja, you can move a little bit more to intuitive eating. But that takes a long time to get there. You can't just pick stuff up and eat it and be like, yeah, I know what's in that.
I'm at a point now where I've been doing it for so long that I can pretty much eat for a whole day knowing roughly what protein, carbs and fats I've nailed. And I can add it up at the end of the day if I need to, or if I'm not being precise, then I'll be there or thereabouts. But that's only because I've been doing it for so long. But we're not saying to cut everything out that you enjoy. The best thing you can do is just to, I know this sounds ridiculous, right? But if you like drinking alcohol at the weekend, and let's say you sustain a body weight and you drink 5 pints of beer throughout a week, right? If you reduce that to 3 pints of beer throughout the week, then you're still going to be reducing your calories.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's the biggest thing that helped me when I kind of got into like bodybuilding and fitness. Is I was baffled by how to approach eating, because obviously the idea is when you are like 19 years old getting into bodybuilding, it's chicken and broccoli 6 times a day. You had to eat 6 times a day. Well, it's only when I started realizing that, oh my lord, calories actually mean something. Suddenly it all clicked into place, and I was far more consistent because I realized I didn't have to eat chicken and broccoli 6 times a day. I just had to monitor what I'm eating and ensure it kind of roughly met the numbers I'd set. As soon as I figured it was really that simple, literally everything just went bang. Yeah. And I gained a lot of weight and a lot of strength within a good year and a half. And I was like, I've wasted 2 years not doing this. I was almost like annoyed at myself.
Starving yourself.
Because I thought,
calories, yeah.
The thing I thought, to understand nutrition to a basic level to actually reach my goals was far more complicated than it actually was. Then when I realised it is literally as simple as calorie surplus to gain weight, I was like, wow.
Well, that puts you off there, doesn't it? Because if you think something's really difficult to understand, you're going to not even bother trying, are you, to try and understand it? But then, I think going back to what you said earlier about adding first, if you add more protein to your diet, even if you don't change anything else, satiety of eating protein, the benefits of having more quality protein sources in your diet, you'll start to omit certain foods anyway, because you won't be hungry, so you just won't reach for the snacks because you'll be full of protein.
The average person really underestimates how much protein is required in order to build muscle and in the process of dieting to not lose muscle. That is always massively undervalued, and I know there's conflicting arguments for and against that side of things, but genuinely, if you, as Mike says, people are surprised how much protein they have to eat in order to build muscle. Definitely.
I actually had this conversation with someone yesterday. A friend of mine messaged me saying, how much protein do you eat today? I told them that probably about 270, 280 grams of protein, and they were baffled.
That's grams, right?
Yeah, 270 to 280 grams of protein a day. But bear in mind, not saying anyone else should do that. There are factors to consider.
But they asked what you have, not what they should have.
That's the thing. And then they said they were lost. So she's a woman. She's recently got into training about a month or 2 ago. And she was like, I can't even get 60 grams. I said, well, if you actually figure out what to eat, I said, you get a solid sized chicken breast, that's most of your 60 grams right there. You could eat a chicken breast. Once you realise what you can eat, you're like, it's actually not that hard. Like if I have 2 tuna steaks, that's 60 grams of protein right there. That's her daily goal, is in a meal that she could split over 2, probably quite easily.
And you can also progressive overload your diet as well. You start by eating healthier foods, and then as you train more, your appetite increases. You're like, I'm going to have a little bit more food now.
Then you figure out when you start struggling to eat, if you are pursuing the goal of getting bigger, you figure out where can I get calories in without really noticing the calories, i.e. intra-workout carbs, post-workout.
I'd be surprised if many people listening to this right now are worried about trying to get as many.
One can dream. One can dream.
Aim big, right?
Yeah, literally. I thought we were all trying to look like C-Bum.
Yeah, we're all trying to look like Chris Bumstead.
C-Bum, is that some kind of mythical creature?
Oh, he
is a little bit mythical to me and Harry, to be fair. He's the champion, Mr. Olympia of the classic physique side of things.
Three times.
He basically looks like how Arnold used to look in his glory days, but just leaner and bigger.
And arguably, depending, is subjective, better.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is pretty immaculate.
Yeah, I think regarding aesthetics, C-Bum probably has the most aesthetically pleasing physique I've ever seen on a human.
And on that point, you've triggered a thought in my brain.
Oh no!
About another reason why I think people fail in pursuit of certainly goals
I know where you're going already.
Oh yeah,
with this.
I see what this
is they look at those kind of people who are freaks of nature. They've got everything dialed in, all kinds of stuff going on, and they think that is the pinnacle. That is what I'm aiming for.
All kinds of stuff going on. Is that code for they take loads of gear?
I think the sad reality that a lot of the younger men, I would say, in the industry, probably coming from TikTok, if they were ever listening to this, need to understand is that there are certain boxes to be a C-bum that need to be ticked. Not only do you have to have elite work ethic, you also have elite genetics, and that falls into you need to be a hyper responder to resistance training. The man could do like Ronnie Coleman, prime example, train biceps,
unbelievable,
here and there. He does that. I don't really do. I do one exercise here and there. 24-inch arms. Do you know what I mean? It's a joke.
But
and then
also
you also got to be a hyper responder to PEDs. I.e., you can take a little amount and get a lot from it.
That's
and you also,
the steroids, basically.
Yeah, PEDs, mean performance-enhancing drugs, not necessarily steroids, but in that kind of, they fall into the PED category. And then also the fact that you need to be able to take potentially a lot of gear, again being steroids, whilst experiencing little to minimal side effects, we'll say. Because some people will hop on a cycle of test and they're like, I can't hack it. 250 milligrams of test, they're like, which is what many would deem to be like an average starting cycle. They're like, my skin was breaking out. I felt watery. I didn't feel good. Blah blah blah. But other people can take a gram, which is a lot, and be like, yeah, I feel fine. And you're like, just different.
So basically, loads of stars have aligned in order for him to step on that stage and get that trophy.
At the end of the day, just to really bore people with professional bodybuilding chat, when you look at the best bodybuilders, ultimately, yes, they take a lot of performance-enhancing drugs and growth hormones and all sorts of crazy, scary stuff. But it's the combination of that with hard work and talent and incredible genetics. It's just, as Harry says, the stars have aligned to make them look like that.
I think the way I always put it is there's this big misconception that if you take gear, you're lazy. And granted, some people will take it out of laziness. The younger guys, but I can't be asked to work and build up a natural base.
I'd say 50% of the young guys in the gym who are on something are just lazy. Because
and I completely back that. But I think what people don't understand is gear is not going to make you a mutant. You're not going to be a C-bum. Gear is going to raise your ceiling. You have to do something to catch that ceiling.
There's no guarantees attached to it.
The way I would say is, everyone's like, oh, I could look like that if I went on steroids. I said, no, you couldn't, because I could take every drug in the world. I could train my ass off. I could do everything right. And I guarantee you now, I would
still have tiny calves.
Literally. I will never, I could do everything in the world, every drug, and I will never beat Usain Bolt in a race. It will never happen. No amount of steroids will help me do that. I will still never beat Chris Bumstead in the Olympia. My stars have not aligned, and that's okay.
I think I just get disappointed with the fact that everyone follows everything on social media. We talked about it before, but pretty much every single Gymshark athlete out there, other than the professional sports people, which probably does include them as well, are enhanced in some way.
I actually saw something quite interesting about that. There's a guy on TikTok I follow called Kale PT. He's a really solid dude. He's very similar to that JPG coaching guy. He really speaks about biomechanics, but he calls out a lot of bullshit in the industry, which I appreciate. And he basically said, the issue with the Gymshark kind of era is they really kind of, I think, made the fake natty trend popular, where a lot of people would go on enhancements, like potentially these athletes, and then claim they were natural, thus leading to unrealistic expectations and essentially contributing to the slaughtering of body image issues amongst younger individuals and maybe even the older individuals.
And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because then people then have to take gear because that person's natural and they look like that, and I am natural and I don't look like that, so I need to take something to look like that, and then it just self-perpetuates.
And then you kind of argue, is it necessarily the athlete's fault in the sense that there has been speculation that in the contract that they have stated you cannot speak about enhancements, you cannot tell people you are enhanced if you are enhanced. So to get around that, you either don't say anything about it at all. Steve Cook, prime example, he just wouldn't speak about it, or you claim natural. It's like, well, no, you're lying, but you're lying because your contract is kind of put you into a position where you have to.
Do you think people will just deny it though, because they think then the people will just dismiss all of their achievements because of you took gear? So
I think that's a concern. I think it's a very fair concern, because unfortunately a lot of people do dismiss you. I've actually had someone comment on the video saying, I wouldn't take advice from someone who takes steroids. It's like, he still has a PhD.
But then that just goes to prove your point, which is gear is not a guarantee. That's people don't understand, and that kind of circles back to my point about people used to think, well, they still do think, that bodybuilder's physique is the pinnacle of fitness and what you need to look like, and what everyone that goes to the gym, that's what they're actually aiming for. And I think what's great is sports like powerlifting, strongman, CrossFit have shown you all kinds of different physiques that are very achievable in different ways, which don't have to involve eating chicken and rice and dieting right down. And I think what hopefully we'll see in the next 5 to 10 years are people who want a 10 out of 10 body, like a Bumstead.
Chris Bumstead,
That's the one. Yep. Shane.
How do you not know his name?
I do know. I kind of know of him, but
I feel
not enough.
disrespected.
He's like, say he's 10 out of 10, and it's like you're 2 out of 10 right now. It's like, actually, do you know how good a 6 and a 7 out of 10 body would look on you?
Well, that's another issue I actually saw pop up, which is because of all these, like, it's normalised that the enhanced physique is natural, and all the people are claiming natural, which again, you do you, but personally I don't back lying about it, just don't speak about it. The guys who have actually achieved something naturally are now being called shit and say your physique's awful. But actually, no, for a natural physique, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
That's that 6 out of 10 you're talking about. It's a really impressive physique.
But this is what I've had for the last, however many years I've been training. So like I've got myself into pretty good shape, I think. And if I say this often, if I could go back in time and show and find myself in the style of Back to the Future and show myself a picture of what I will look like in 8 years time or whatever, I'd have been like, wow, I'll take that. This is brilliant. This is great. I'd bite your hand off for it. But now I'm here because of everything that surrounds me and the fact that I train with other people like Ryan John Baptiste, my other podcast presenter that I work with, who's just an incredible Olympia athlete, and all these other people on social media that I follow and other people that I've worked with that just look incredible. I'm now feeling back. You might as well be back at square one, because in my mind I just don't look that great compared to these people. But ultimately, if I take a step back from it and look at myself, by all means feel free to look at me on social media, I'd be quite happy with that.
As you should. I think it's just
But this
sad.
is the problem, isn't it? Because it's like all these Gymshark athletes and all these, famous people on social media, they've all got that way because, they've enhanced themselves to get there, and that's normalized the process of doing that. So look, I think we've done enough chat about, I'm going to klaxon myself. We've done enough chat about drugs. Again, we seem to have stumbled into it.
We do love it.
Again.
Yeah.
Just stay off drugs.
And this applies to all genders. Like, I think all genders have their own issues regarding this, and all genders are in dabbling with PEDs.
Oh yeah, it's just as much in with the women as it is with the guys.
Actually, arguably more so than a lot of people realise, unfortunately.
There's different drugs that do different things at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's not just a steroid you take. There are many. Anyway, I think we should go back to the kind of primary topic of the podcast, which is let's discuss some New Year's resolutions. Obviously, we've kind of given our take on them, and we think, yeah, sure, if that helps you, fantastic. But obviously, yourself and Chris and I rather just kind of stay with things as they are, etc., etc.
Interestingly, before we move on, during the Christmas period, I found myself watching various documentaries. So I watched the 14 Peaks one, which is a mountaineering one, which is amazing. And I watched Free Solo, which is the guy that climbed El Capitan without ropes. And then I watched The Dawn Wall, which is another rock climber. I don't know if you've seen any of those, Harry.
I've heard of them. I haven't seen them. My dad is an avid climber.
They are mind-blowing,
very good,
motivational, like crazy people that just do insanely amazing things. Okay, it's rock climbing and mountaineering, which doesn't sound brilliant, but my God, they're gripping. And so I watched that.
Good pun, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's not bad, is it?
That was quite funny.
That was really good.
I didn't even register. I watched those, and then I also happened to watch the Beatles documentary, which is another thing. Obviously, I come from a music background, so I end up watching all this stuff, which is all these incredible people achieving incredible things, and I just literally at the end of all that just felt really fucking inadequate. It was really detrimental to me.
I hate myself because you are so good.
It's like. I sat back and thought, what have I've not achieved anything on this grandeur. What am I going to do about that?
Are you one of those that would sit and watch like bodybuilding montages before you go into the gym, like sat in the car park, and you're just looking at like old Arnold and Ronnie Coleman and just being like, yeah, I'm going to lift some weights now?
That's literally me.
I wondered what the glow was every time I walked past your car. What is he doing?
When we were at Pulse 8 together, which is a gym Chris and I used to train at many years ago, I would, before the gym, used to hammer about an hour of motivational bodybuilding videos, and I'd get to the car park and I'd watch one before I went in.
Do you know what though?
Good.
I think that I'm all for that, and I know I moaned about those. The feeling inadequate side of things, but watching those programs and that, especially the Dawn Wall, for example, it did motivate me to be like, no, they just didn't give up. They just did what they had to do. And there's no reason why any of us can't just be more committed to something.
But there's always going to be someone that's out there working harder than you. So you just watch them work hard and be like, God damn it, I can work hard. I'm going to go work hard now.
I think it's how you take it. Some people will obviously go engage in the comparison and ultimately negatively impact their self-esteem by doing so, which again is likely, and it's not something you should ever encourage, obviously, that kind of comparison. But other people take away from it saying, you know what, they're doing a lot, I want to do more. So how are you going to go from it? You're going to say they do a lot, I feel crap, or they do a lot, I'm going to do a lot now.
That can go into quite a deep chat then about like how you actually talk about yourself. Like, do you talk to yourself like you're someone you care about, or do you talk to yourself about someone that you don't care about? And if you tweet yourself about like someone, I'll really turn myself on a bit of it.
I know what you mean.
Then do you know what I mean?
Say what?
Yeah, there you go. So it's one of those things. It's all the self-talk. If you have positive self-talk, then you'll watch someone else working hard. You'll be like, good for you. I'm going to go do something. If you don't talk to yourself very nicely, you'll be like, I don't want to watch that because that reminds me about the risks and the effort I'm not willing to put in myself.
No, I think that's fair. I think we're all guilty of it.
Yeah, I'll definitely all the time, every day.
Yeah, I agree.
I do it in loads of parts of my life. So
there you go. Right, so let's move on.
Okay, well, I'm trying to think of some. I haven't actually read through these yet.
Think of some.
Well, I'm trying to look. I've got many actually. So, Mike, after you, did you get any good ones?
I've got some all right ones, yeah. I've got actually quite a few that have mentioned the gym. So shout out to those people who said that they've just joined the gym or they're planning to join the gym and they're very excited.
Would highly recommend joining East Park Gym. It's a fantastic place, fantastic community, and if you ever see me around, I'm a staff member. They won't admit it.
I will slip you that tenner later.
Oh, by the way, can you get some more chest machines, please?
Oh yeah, we were going to talk about this.
Were we?
We need to put a petition together for more. It's like the most to a guy. It's like International Chest Day is a thing
every day.
We need more chest machines, Michael. What can you do?
I will get back to you on that.
This is an intervention.
This is okay. I did wonder what the banner and the balloons were for. I actually do want to get. There's a plate-loaded Watson machine. Shout out Watson.
Does it converge?
With tag, it does converge.
Thank you. That's all I want.
Sexy.
So
there is biomechanics.
There is space for it as well.
Is
I've already
where are we going to put it?
That is to be revealed. I don't want to tell you. I just want to put a bow round it and then just like it's here.
I'll probably cry.
Yeah,
I'll probably cry.
Will.
Yeah, if you could let me and Harry come to the grand unveiling of it, we'll cut the rope on it or whatever.
Yeah, get you some big novelty scissors.
Oh, let's do it.
No one trusts me with scissors, so I would really appreciate that.
They're not even sharp.
Yeah, but that's fine. No one trusts me with anything. I just really appreciate some trust.
Right, let's move on.
So, I think I've got some different ones. Some of them are thinking about learning another language, things like that. Other more fitness related, lose 12.5 kilos. And also about more steps, more water, more reading.
Well, that's quite good.
I think that's a really nice one because it's realistic and it's not giving you this unrealistic number. I want to do 100,000 steps or something stupid. It's just I want to do a bit more.
I think the best resolutions are the ones that are just going to, enhance you a little bit. And I don't mean performance enhance. Again, and
suckling back.
And I don't. And again, it's like I like the one that says someone who wants to lose 12 kilos. That's fine. But that's not a resolution as much as that's something that you need to plan for. Because a resolution you could quite easily just give up on. If you want to lose 12 kilos, then you need to get a plan in place. Because basically, a goal without a plan is just a dream.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, and I think with that goal, it's like something that immediately screams out to me as a coach is like you've not really set yourself any parameters to achieve that goal. He's like, I could help you lose 12 kilos now. Cut both your arms and legs off. Ta-da!
Yeah, all right. I mean, yeah, but
do you want to try it?
I have the saw.
You've got scissors apparently. I'm just saying.
Novelty scissors.
Yeah, but I can do something with them.
But yeah, so setting yourself a goal such as to lose a certain amount of weight or to gain weight or anything like that. That's not really a resolution for me. That's just something that requires a plan. Get a plan in place. Get someone to help you if you need the help. The worst thing you could do is go about it on your own and not have a clue. If you're experienced and you know what you're doing, then fine. But if you don't know what you're doing, then ask for help in that situation.
Set smarter goals.
That's still a smart goal, Michael. But you just...
Oh, he said Michael.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
But it just requires a little bit. You just need to step back and say, right, can I do this on my own? Can I get the best? How will I get the best possible results? Does it require asking for help? Maybe you might have to pay for some help. the end of the day.
But I meant the acronym SMART.
Yeah.
Specific, measurable, achievable,
Realistic,
and time. Because that's why I picked up the time thing. Because it's like if you set a time on something, you're more likely to stick to a plan. To it.
Do you want me to klaxon you right now? Come on, right? Let's move on.
I back you, Mike. I'm on your side here.
What I also like about those goals are they are based on effort rather than a reward.
Yeah, I like that.
That's a good way to look at it.
You've got some really good ones, actually.
Focus on the effort you have to put in to do something because it's all about the journey.
You are motivational today.
I am.
You've been watching some TED Talks again.
Maybe.
What is a TED Talk?
It's a talk on stage.
You've not seen TED Talks?
You've never seen TED Talk?
Is it got like Mark Wahlberg in it and a teddy bear?
We're on very different wavelengths right now.
We're in different rooms.
What is a TED Talk?
It's basically an event where it could be anywhere. It could be in California. It could be in London.
Is it like what's his name, Robbins?
It's a public speaking event where they bring in different speakers from different backgrounds.
And it can be anything.
So you could have a spoken word poet. You've had bodybuilders go in and speak about natural bodybuilding on there. You've got all sorts. My friend actually did a TED Talk about the education system.
So essentially, it's just a knowledgeable chat about someone's journey and how it can help inspire other people.
Yeah, it's like a lecture. And
what does TED stand for?
It's probably someone's name, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know that.
I don't know. I'm going to have to ask my assistant.
Totally excellent discussions.
Maybe, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised. He's Googling it. Fact check.
Just talk amongst yourselves.
All right, carry on.
I've got some good ones. I've got improve my relationship with food. That's quite nice.
That's interesting. I think relationship with food is a tricky one because there's so many, like a lot of people who've got themselves in a bad way physically. Usually there was an emotional trigger involved and stuff like that. So a relationship with food is an interesting one because it's like, well, at the end of the day, food tastes good. So, and restricting yourself to the point where I think this, from a diet stance, I think the key is not to cut out stuff that you like.
Yeah, balance. You're most likely to remain consistent if you can actually stick. Like, do you mean like is the path of like I guess the optimal results is on paper this may be optimal, but if you can't stick to it, it's not really optimal for you.
Correct.
If you actually like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna eat in my surplus, my deficit, but I'm actually gonna eat the foods I enjoy as well. You're probably gonna stick to it.
The shocking thing that a lot of people don't really understand is I could go to McDonald's every day and still hit my targets, if that makes sense.
Well, there was that documentary, wasn't there? Super Size Me. I mean, it wasn't good for his guts, and I wouldn't recommend eating McDonald's every day.
I would not recommend that at all.
When you're actually talking about the context of what you're trying to achieve, if it's calories, then you just get your calories where you can. But health should also be part of that conversation because it's all very well looking good, but then if you don't feel very well, then
I'd love to see his blood work after that.
Well, he was messed up.
Yeah,
he was
horrendous.
messed up. It's a really fascinating documentary to watch. It's an old one, but it's a good one.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I saw it years ago. It's probably one of the first documentaries I ever really got into that kind of nature.
Super Size Me.
What was the thing? It was like he would always order a McDonald's, and if they asked,
right. So if he asked him if he wanted to go large, he would have to say yes.
Yeah. And in America, I think it's more common than it is here.
Do you want to go large?
Because I don't think I've ever.
Couldn't imagine you going large.
All I know is large. Just not myself.
Previous girlfriends were constantly asking you to go large, and you were just incapable.
And that's why I'm single, guys. I'm exposed.
Oh yeah. So just for the record, Harriet is single, and look, if you don't friend zone this guy, all right? Stop friend zoning this guy. He needs love like any like you guys do.
We need like a little romantic.
Who's friend zoning me? I don't have any friends to be put in the zone too.
If you've ever had a fondness for this guy and you want to pursue that,
then you need better choice of men. I'd consider speaking to your parents.
Give Harry a chance, all right? Maybe
I wouldn't do that.
Maybe be the one to ask him out.
Yeah, social anxiety. I'd probably be sick. I'm going to be honest with you. I'd probably cough, say, sorry, can we just kind of, okay, bite, hack squat.
Just vomit all over them and walk away.
Literally, I'm far too
You're like
awkward.
the Joker, aren't you, or something like that?
I'm very anxious.
Technology, entertainment, design, TED.
That I prefer Chris's one, to be honest.
Totally excellent discussions.
That one, I thought that was nicer, to be honest, because they are pretty excellent.
Guess when they started.
Is this interesting?
1999.
No, 1984. So they've been around for a while. So YouTube obviously put them on the map.
That was when I was fucking born.
Wow.
No comment.
February 23rd?
No, 23rd, yes. But
was it?
September.
Oh, no comment.
So maybe my parents gave a TED talk the month after I was conceived. Maybe that was the first talk.
We all love to
Miracle Child.
Yeah, exactly. The Miracle Child. Let's move on.
Another one was improve my mental health.
Yes.
I like that.
But then how do you go about that's massive.
Well, I think you need to almost be a bit more specific in the sense that, like, what is a mental health hindrance that you're overcoming? Could it be anxiety? Could it be depression? Could it be an eating disorder? Could it be all of them? Do you mean, like, where are we going to start?
I think the key thing with that is, like, I'm not a psychologist. I think that's your job, Harold. Is that the best way to improve your mental health is actually to dedicate time for your mental well-being, to cut off from all the influences that make you ignore your mental well-being.
I think there are a lot of things that kind of contribute to it. Ultimately, for a lot of people, mental health or declining mental health can be a result of lack of purpose, not really having a reason. In the realm of depression, maybe when it comes to like body image related things, it could be something as simple as removing external influences that you follow that look amazing and make you feel like crap. Bin them all off.
Right, interesting one. And I was going to bring this up actually. I've over the Christmas period, or after holiday, I remember saying that I was feeling a bit down in the last show, but especially between Christmas and getting back to work this week for me, I felt very depressed. And it's interesting that you say that, because obviously throughout that, I had no desire to get off the sofa and do anything. I didn't train as much as I would normally. Self-perpetuated cycle of eating bad foods that made me sleep in longer. I stayed up later, didn't want to train, felt very unmotivated.
You felt not you.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to...
But that comes down to the fact that I had no purpose.
Well, I was going to say, with you, I'm not surprised, because ultimately, I've known you, 10 years now? Probably about 8 years or something along those lines. And you've always been someone who's very much dedicated a lot of time to a routine. You're a very structured individual. When you go through that kind of the unknown period of Christmas and New Year where you're kind of just floating, again, you don't have a purpose, your eating's off. If your eating's off, your training's probably off. If your training's off, your sleeping's probably off as well. All these variables that you usually control really well are now off. Therefore, you're not quite you, and you are just floating.
It's brutal, honestly.
Yeah, it's horrible.
As much as I enjoy a bit of a mental reset, as we said before,
it's hard.
I think I had to get to grips with it and basically say, look, this is a controlled period of relaxation, if that makes sense. I know it's not necessarily good foods. I know I could be more productive, but maybe it's okay to not be productive. But it was really hard for me to put that in a box and say it's all right.
Yeah. I think you hold yourself at such high standards, sometimes you almost feel guilty for having a bit of an unwind.
But that's why people end up with depression, and I felt like I was kind of bombing down into a very depressive state because of that. I feel a lot better just for the fact that today, I did some good work today, out and about and so on, and I'm back doing this with you guys. Suddenly I feel like I'm seeing clients again and stuff. Suddenly I feel like, yeah, okay, I've got, I'm back in.
Normality has resumed.
Yeah,
you're you again.
I'm back into training this week as I was before, and suddenly everything starts to feel a bit normal again, and I'm feeling more myself.
That's why because I find, especially over the recent years, I found the Christmas period a lot harder. Christmas used to be my favourite day of the year, and as I got a bit older and I started to get more structured with what I'm trying to achieve and my goals a bit more like concrete, when a period arises that would maybe throw me off that path, I found it similar to you. I felt lost, and I was like I was floating and just felt messy. I just didn't feel me. So now, like this year, I'm trying to, or last year now technically, I very much tried to keep as many things as consistent as possible, like training Christmas Eve. As soon as the gyms are back, training again, but just allowing me that Christmas day, I'm not going to track, I'm not going to train, I'm just going to just do whatever, and probably overeat, which is bloody fantastic, and then try and get into that rhythm straight away. It's just hard because the Christmas and New Year period, everything's out of whack. Yeah. It's only one like today's, or yesterday technically, when normal hours resume, it feels like the world is spinning again. It's just hard to try and get through that 10-day period.
And I'm the same as you two. Like when I was ill, I didn't do as much work, but I did a little bit every day because I was like, that's what I enjoy doing. Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like, we're told to relax a lot. It's like, well, if you're forcing me to do nothing that I like to do, and that causes me more stress than just doing a little bit of what I like to do, which is causing me a little bit of stress, then maybe I should just continue to do a little bit of what I like to do. Maybe I shouldn't remove myself completely from what I enjoy doing, because actually that causes me much more stress than actually just keeping a little bit of a pulse on it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely understand that.
Anyway,
it's hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
But
here we are.
welcome back.
Welcome back. I'm glad you're back.
Back in the room, guys. And also, I'm feeling better. I felt last show I was very consumed by the hacking that was
understandably
put upon me.
Any updates on that?
I haven't had any more.
He hacked them back.
I haven't had any more.
He now is a trillionaire.
I haven't had any more money siphoned from me, and I'm, everything's all under control, and I'm happy again, which is all good.
Well, I think it goes without saying that if you ever are going through a period of a blip, just text us.
Do you know
we can hang out. We don't have to just do, but we can hang out. We are friends.
Yeah, we can. We can.
He's like,
yeah. No, but it is good that I feel that in some of the best things that have come out of the last few years and the whole mental health discussion is that people are way more freely open about talking about it. Like some of the group chats with some, the older guys that I've known for years, people in their 40s, everyone's actually now will occasionally check on each other, and it's kind of like, this is awesome, this is how it should be.
Definitely.
So because the worst thing is, like, with depression is feeling alone, but the minute you realise everyone else goes through the same shit you do, suddenly it feels okay.
Yeah. And we always think that everyone else has got their shit together, so it's like, I'm the only person. It's the same, comes back to the thing we were talking about earlier with feeling like you have to be in shape all the time or be looking the best. It's like it's because if all the people you follow, obviously social media is the highlight reel, it's the best bit, so you think then everyone else is living a best life. So it's because you follow 100 people which have six packs, it's like, well, of course you're going to think that I'm the only one out there that's having a good time. Maybe
my New Year's resolution this year should be to post more on social media of the stuff that just isn't like wall-to-wall highlight reel content.
Just you waking up every morning just with your eyes closed, like,
to be
another
fair,
day.
I've got horrendous diarrhea today, guys. I hope you know that.
Painted another toilet, guys.
I think, to be fair, I share most things on my story. I'm a big giver on my stories. I like
your stories.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I think it's my main feed that I'm very precious about posting kind of cool content, and I need to get over that a little bit. And just,
I think it's because it's there forever. The story is only there for 24 hours. The feed is there.
Do you know what though? I think I like stories more because ultimately the people that watch them are genuine, like the people that give enough of a shit to watch them.
Check in on you.
The funny thing I find about stories is there are people watching my Instagram stories that I went to school with, and there are people that I haven't spoken to in nearly 20 years, and yet they will still stalk me on my Insta stories. It's like,
do they follow you?
Rent free in
their
mind.
Okay, just checking.
They follow me. They never like a single post that I've posted. They never engage. They never message me. I haven't spoken a word to them in like a decade or more, and yet they'll still monitor my every movement on my stories, which I find kind of strange.
If you're listening to this and you feel like this applies to you, it probably does. So he's calling you out right now.
Well, the likelihood is that they won't bother tuning into this podcast, but if it has happened, I'm tempted sometimes to put a story up saying, if you're watching this story and you haven't spoken to me in over a decade, please just message me just to say, yeah, I've been, stalking you. Not stalking you. Yeah, I've been,
I've been lurking in the bushes.
Hi guys, I'm slightly strange. I've been stalking you for years now.
It's not strange. It's just like...
Oh no, I do it all the time.
Ultimately, they know the inner workings of my daily life because I'm a sharer. I'm a giver. And they're not giving anything back. They don't post on social media very much. They just basically monitor what other people do. And I just find it like, stop being a weird lurker, guys. Just let's engage.
Yeah,
let's engage.
Let's get together.
Maybe I should send a message out to everyone that watches my stories that hasn't spoken to me saying, hi, I see you've been watching my stories for the last 10 years. Why not? Yeah. How are you? Let's have a chat. Let's catch up. What have you been doing?
Please do it. And then let us know what the results are.
How many people either unfollow you, block you, or like and no response?
I want to see how many scenes you get left on.
I'll think about that and maybe come back to you.
With the I have a similar hang up with, because I never really post on my social media. I use it to consume things and to connect businesses, and I never post anything. And there's two reasons for that. One, because I suffer a bit with imposter syndrome, and I consume so much content which I think is good that I'm like, I can't do anything good enough, so I'm not going to bother contributing to a conversation that I don't think I can. And two, because I feel like so many people with the stories, because this is what I was thinking of, with the stories, because it's 24 hours and it normally has to be something that's happening in that moment most of the time, it seems a little more genuine, because you're like, this is happening. Like with your stories, for example, you're like, this is where I am, this is what I'm doing. I'm like, cool, I'm interested in that. when you post something on the grid, it's like you have time to find the perfect picture, write the perfect caption.
It's so committed, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just a bit like, it seems a little bit more like you could do a little bit of virtue signaling in there, like sprinkle some things about how great you
bullshit. Like I went to, obviously, as you know, I went to New York in December. I still haven't posted a single main feed post about it because I haven't come up with the right narrative to go with the fucking pictures. What the fuck is wrong with me, man?
I completely relate to that.
Oh no, I completely get it. I wish I was able to do that. Just post photo, caption, photo.
I'm also wary of the fact that it's like social media is braggy, and therefore when you do something like the worst person on social media, worst is the wrong way of putting it, but it's the people that don't post anything, and yet when they suddenly go on holiday or they go somewhere awesome, they'll post that, and it's like they're only posting the one awesome thing they've done in the last month. They haven't given anything else at all.
That's because that is one of the only contributing parts of their personality, is what they do. So they're like, oh, I go on holiday. That's part of my identity.
It's like they won't post.
It is.
Like for example, Facebook these days, people post nothing on it apart from the fact that they're in there. Oh, I'm a T5, getting ready to fly off to Mexico or wherever. Come on, man.
Can we go to Mexico?
We should film one in Mexico.
That'd be great.
We should do a tour of the
Spring
UK.
break.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think I'm too old for spring break.
Don't get on the age thing.
Don't push your fucking age thing on me, man.
I feel like
we established I was born in 1984.
He was born when TED Talks were born.
That's
Yeah.
quite funny.
And he didn't even know what they were.
That's
now.
Oh no, that's actually scary.
I am Ted.
He talks. He does talk as well.
Do we have a couple more, and then maybe we'll see about any Q&A that we have left over?
Okay, let's have a look.
I'm curious to know what the fellow members of East Park are saying.
Are you going to put this? Are you going to start playing this out in the gym, or giving us some?
I don't know.
Some
Podcast is really gym vibes. Though,
it's not really, to be honest. I don't know.
The thing is, though, if I actually could separate the audio, getting a bit technical here, if I could separate the audio in the reception, I would play a podcast.
But the thing is, no one's going to fucking sit in reception and listen. I suppose in that to be fair,
I would.
That reception area might be suitable but then people are like, what am I hearing right now?
Who's talking to me?
Who's that gazelle mic speaking on the speakers right now?
I think I think that's why I suggested maybe we should like film a show, and then you could put that on a screen. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna put some stuff on the screens, like some logo stuff.
We need to start uploading our reels. We've got them prepped. That's our homework for this month.
Right, no private discussions.
We'll talk about this afterwards.
Okay, so I've got a few here. Some of them are training related. So someone's put like what they want to squat, bench, and deadlift.
Go on, hit me with numbers, big man.
You're gonna pan their numbers.
Yeah.
Well, he's put SBD, but he's put 160, not worth the risk. 180. So what he wants 180 on all of them, because that's very balanced, isn't it?
I don't really understand where we're going.
Interesting.
No, I don't. I'm going to move past that one. Someone said, see if you can guess who this is, Harry. I think you'll know who this is. She listens, so she'll definitely know this is her. Drink less caffeine, sleep better, get big or die trying.
Yeah, is that Anna? Is that not Anna?
Oh, no.
Who is it? Katie.
On.
Yeah. Honestly, if Katie dare mention sleep to me, I swear I'm not going to.
She drinks so much caffeine.
She also sleeps 1 hour.
I didn't
a night.
know. This is one of our members.
Okay,
she's great, but she drinks so much caffeine. I was like, I couldn't believe.
Because she sleeps for an hour a night.
I know, and she said that her resting heart rate at one point was like 150. I didn't believe her, and she showed me like her fitness tracker thing.
I've made her sign up to a GP now.
It's wild.
She didn't have a GP, so I was like, get GP.
I don't have a GP actually.
Do you not?
Well, I think I'm still registered at the surgery where I grew up. I haven't been to a doctor in 20 years. So
because he is the doctor.
I'm the doctor. But I definitely probably should do. I've got health insurance now, which is quite cool.
Yeah, there you go.
It's very grown up.
I think that people. I know this is a bit kind of ridiculous, but it's actually really cheap to get health insurance. People would be more willing to pay for their Sky TV subscription than they are their own fucking health.
I think health insurance is a really good investment if you're able to do so.
Priorities, guys. Priorities.
Anyway,
what else we got? We got any good spice?
Someone said to write down tasks for each day, so I guess get more organised.
Like logbooking, kind of like to-do listing.
Oh, to-do listing is good. To-do listing is really good. Like sometimes, do you know what? One of the biggest problems when you lead a busy life is like you end up procrastinating because you feel like there's so many tasks that need doing, the best thing you can do is write them all down and then look through all of them and go, actually, they're all lots of little things that I can work through. When you look at them as a whole and don't write them down, suddenly it can overwhelm you. That's one, from my experience in business, and I've been doing it a long time, is that you can get, when you feel like you've got a lot on your plate with work or with life or anything like that, it can be quite overwhelming, and then you to the point where you end up just feeling like you do nothing. Procrastination is a horrible thing. The best thing you can do is to basically write it all down and just go through it and say, and just prioritize things. There's bound to be a few things in there you can get rid of pretty quickly, and then just work methodically through it. And that's the best way to deal with that side of things.
Yeah, no, it works for me because my brain works. It jumps between things so fast that actually, like you said, just writing it down, getting a few wins early in the day.
Cheeky wins, yeah.
Get some cheeky wins in.
Cheeky wins.
There's another one here which I think is quite good. Someone's put lose my menopausal weight gain. So it's obviously like a change in their life.
Yeah, that's
but they can't do anything about that. That's just a part of life.
That's cool. I mean,
that's a really good one.
I think they want to get some control of their body back because the whole process of going through menopause isn't great for anyone. I mean, when it happened so it didn't happen to me. It isn't, it's not, you can't control it. It will happen to.
It's inevitable.
It will happen to the ladies listening, but you feel like you've kind of lost control and it's a bit shit. But there's, the life on the other side of that's absolutely rock and roll.
That's the thing. You've got to work with these things because I don't know what is the average age of someone that's going through the menopause. Do we know?
I'm not.
Have a little look, because depending on when that is, if you're looking kind of in like your 50s and 60s, potentially, especially nowadays, that's still half of your life left. And if you're at a point where you're going through the menopause and you're like, that's my lot. It's like, so you're going to live the other second half of your life.
No, I don't think. I honestly don't think any women out there going through the menopause feel like that there is.
It can happen in your 40s or 50s, but the average age in the United States is 51.
But my point is, like, there's so many people they think they get to a certain, and this goes for men as well. They get to a certain age and they're like, I'm just going to get old now. They just accept their fate. It's like, no, you can slow down the effects of aging and live a good life right to the end. You don't have to just give up now because you've had a family or you get into your 50s.
Yeah, but there's like guys in the gym and fitness clients who are like in their 70s and still doing spinning classes and all that sort of stuff. So it's
but
completely...
They're still the minority. That's my point.
It's a mindset thing, like just as we said earlier before, take control of your, diet and your training, and suddenly it's all in your hands. You can control this stuff.
Definitely.
Okay, any more? Are we...
No, they were the ones.
I think those are the big ones.
Resolutioned out.
I think those are the big ones. A lot of them obviously very much fell into the category of either changes in weight or maybe psychological changes, be that eating disorder, overcoming relationships with food or mental health. They all kind of fell into
behavioural little things.
I think we've covered some good resolution vibes. We could do if there's any Q&A hanging around. Interestingly, I don't know if you've still got any Q&A. We don't have to do Q&A this week. The only reason I say that is because I felt Q&A needed some intro music.
Oh, is this
okay? Like a new
Is this
section.
what we got a little bit of a sample of earlier by accident?
Yeah. So I have put together some intro music for Q&A for us.
Can't wait. Should we pretend we haven't heard it already?
You haven't heard it.
Yes,
you heard a beat. You didn't hear it.
That's enough. I can put it together.
There's words.
Oh no.
You ready for this?
Are you speaking the words?
It is my voice on it. Yes.
Oh no,
I'm very excited for this
sick.
now. No, I'm really excited.
I feel anxious.
I literally can't stop smiling.
Okay, you ready?
Go
you
on.
ready for it? You've got to put your phone down, Michael.
I was just looking for the questions, but
oh dear.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here is the official intro music for Q&A.
I know you've got questions.
I just like the sound of it.
I know we've got answers. What creatine should I use? You've got me all confused. Can you tell me the answer? How many reps in a superset? Sometimes I train and I forget. Just tell me the answer. I need all the answers. I got questions about making gains. Talk to me about those BCAAs. I need all the answers. I know you got questions.
There you go.
Your poor wife. That was really good. I actually like that.
I
but
felt
your
like-
poor wife must have heard you at midnight just dribbling into your microphone doing that.
I feel like, obviously, now that Travis Scott's been cancelled, there was a void. And
Wow, there he is, everyone.
I thought that was what was needed. So I brought in a little bit of a Travis kind of vibe, beat, and that sort of thing.
I've never listened to Travis Scott in my life.
No, me neither.
No,
But I had to basically look. Was it on point? Was it
Yeah,
okay?
no, it was really good. I really enjoyed that.
Did you like the words I brought into
I did.
play?
You know
there?
what? I'm gonna say something controversial here. I actually like that more than our intro music.
Mummy's in
But
trouble.
that's subjective taste.
Yeah, no,
music.
I can develop it into an intro piece of sorts. We can use it. But that was the Q&A music.
Can we
there.
get some audience feedback on that? Because I'm a fan. I think it's quite funny.
I
But
think that is so good.
Those listening, what do you drop us a message on the old DMs? You know, Pump Fiction actually has its own Instagram platform now.
Oh, that's true. Actually,
So maybe you could send us a message to the Pump Fiction podcast on
I
Instagram?
think young Michael created the Instagram. You're curating it currently.
Just want to let everyone know that neither of us have the password to get in or the
Yes, all right. Well,
we'll cross that bridge, but send us a message on there and or privately, whichever you prefer.
Yeah.
And let us know if you like the Q&A music.
I mean, you're not supposed to like it. It's supposed to be like
it's going to happen anyway.
But you're going to tolerate it and you're going to deal with it.
It's just going to happen every episode, so they'll just become the thing when they're listening to this in the car or while they're working or they're going for their steps. That bit will kick in and they're like, okay, this is the bit I needed to fast forward to because I just want to hear the Q&A today.
I told you that I was a sharer, I was a giver, and that's me giving more.
I love it.
Melodical.
I love it.
Anyway, so do we have any Q&A after doing that? We don't have to. it's fine.
No, we don't.
We have none.
We have nothing.
We didn't ask a Q&A.
It was just a
to be fair,
premiere.
yeah, that was just that was ready for next week. You'll know the Q&A's coming when you hear the beat dropping. But
Mic drop.
Mic
Yes.
drop indeed. Yeah, that's the mic drop question side of things. Yeah, I think, do you know what, guys? We've reached that hour and 15 threshold.
There it is. Cancelled.
Yeah, we don't want to kind of wander into the show being too long or too boring, because that's what the klaxon's for.
Yes.
Yes, that was your own personal klaxon.
Yes. You're welcome.
Yeah, so yeah, it's 2022. That's another show wrapped up. What are our plans for this show this year? What are the Pump Fiction resolutions? What are we looking to achieve?
The goal is to what are we saying? How many listens or downloads total do we want by the end of the year? Because at the moment we're over 250.
Don't tell people that. We want people to think it's fucking massive
That
already.
is massive. Bear in mind we'd be doing this for like 20 seconds.
Is it good?
I think it's all
I
right.
would like us to get to like an episode milestone. I don't know what that is yet, but that would be quite cool. Get to 30 episodes or something.
Or like 25 episodes or
25.
something like that.
I think also maybe getting on a couple of guests this year would be
Okay.
quite
I
cool.
would like that. Yeah, that'd be good.
That's good.
Um,
We get them in the room with us, yeah? Or do you want to get them on Zoom? How do you want to do that?
we can get them in the room.
I'd rather the room. I think the room would be nicer. Zoom's a bit limited. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can
I've
get...
always liked the physical interaction. I want to see the guest.
I did wonder
agree.
why you kept touching my knee all of last episode.
I like a cuddle.
Well, we'll discuss that privately in the general admin side of Pump Fiction.
Oh, I thought we were going elsewhere with that. So did Mike, apparently.
After dark.
But yeah, so that's another show done. I don't, unless you guys have anything more to add. Do you have anything to give to the episode?
Thank you for tolerating us, and hopefully you have a bloody splendid 2022 and you spend it with us because we're the best things in the world.
Yeah, thank you for listening again if you've come this far, as always. I mean, if you have come this far, you've just had the expose of the Q&A music, to be fair. It wasn't given out at the beginning. It was given to you, the people who stayed till the end.
Yeah, and the extended version will be on Spotify at some point, no doubt,
right.
when people want
Million
it.
downloads.
There you go. Okay, cool. Thanks for listening, guys. This has been Pump Fiction Episode 3 with me, Christy Fellows, and him.
Harry Moore.
And him.
Michael John Carter.
Yeah, let's move on. See you later, guys. Till next time.
I should have middle named.